The mahogany floorboards of the Westbrook mansion gleamed under the afternoon sun as David Westbrook made his way through the hallway, his Italian leather shoes clicking softly against the wood. He had come home early from his corporate offices in downtown Manhattan, wanting to surprise his 8-year-old daughter Amara with tickets to the Broadway show she'd been talking about for weeks. The house was unusually quiet, with Mrs. Chen, their housekeeper, having the day off, and his wife Catherine at her charity board meeting. David had adopted Amara 3 years ago from an overcrowded foster care facility in Detroit, and though the adjustment hadn't always been smooth, he considered her the greatest blessing of his life. The fertility struggles he and Catherine had endured for a decade had nearly broken their marriage, but Amara had healed wounds they didn't even know existed. Her laugh could fill their massive house with more warmth than any of his money ever could. As he passed the kitchen, heading toward the stairs to check Amara's room, a sound made him pause. It was a soft, crunching noise, barely audible, coming from the butler's pantry. David smiled, thinking he'd caught Amara sneaking cookies before dinner again. He moved quietly toward the pantry, ready to playfully scold her, when he froze in the doorway. Amara was sitting cross-legged on the floor, her back to him, hunched over something. But it wasn't the cookie jar. David's blood ran cold as he recognized the distinctive blue bag of Duke's premium dog food, the expensive organic brand they bought for their golden retriever, Max. Amara was eating from it, handful by handful, with the mechanical movements of someone who had done this many times before. "Amara?" The word came out as barely a whisper, but she spun around, her eyes wide with terror. Dog food kibble fell from her small hands, scattering across the pristine floor. For a moment, neither of them moved. David felt his knees weaken as he took in the scene, his daughter, his precious little girl, eating dog food in secret like she was committing a crime. "I'm sorry, Daddy," Amara said, her voice trembling. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Please don't send me back. Please don't send me back." The words hit David like physical blows. Send her back. He dropped to his knees, not caring about his $1,000 suit, and reached for her. But Amara flinched away, pressing herself against the pantry shelves. "Sweetheart, no," David said, his voice breaking. "I would never send you back. Never. But baby, why are you eating Max's food?" Amara's lip quivered, and tears began rolling down her cheeks. Sometimes I just need to know I can," she whispered. "I need to know there's food I can eat if everything goes wrong again." David felt his heart shatter. "If what goes wrong again, baby?" Amara looked at the scattered kibble on the floor, then back at her father. "If you decide you don't want me anymore, like the Johnsons, and the Martins, and Miss Sarah." She listed the names like a litany of losses. "I was good, Daddy. I tried so hard to be good. But sometimes being good isn't enough. And when they sent me back, there wasn't always food. Not for kids who got sent back." David's vision blurred with tears. He had read Amara's file, knew she had been through multiple failed placements, but the sterile language of social services reports hadn't prepared him for this, for the reality of a child so traumatized by rejection and hunger that she had created a secret backup plan for survival. "How long?" he managed to ask. "How long have you been doing this?" Amara wiped her nose with her sleeve. "Since I came here. I found Max's food that first week, and I tried it, just to know. It's not bad, Daddy. It says organic on the bag, and it has vitamins. I read the label. If you have water, you can live on it for a long time." The business-like way she explained her survival strategy destroyed something in David. This 8-year-old girl had been planning for her own abandonment from the moment she'd entered their home. While he and Catherine had been decorating her room in princess themes and buying her American Girl dolls, she had been locating food sources and testing them, preparing for the day when the fairy tale would end. "Oh, baby girl," David breathed, finally understanding why Amara always kept granola bars in her backpack, why she never finished her plate at dinner, always saving something. He had thought it was just a quirk, maybe even a healthy relationship with food. He had been so blind. "The Johnsons had a dog too," Amara continued, her voice steady now, like she was reciting history. "Bella. She was nice. When they started forgetting to make me dinner, Bella's food was there. Mrs. Johnson said I was eating too much anyway, that I was getting expensive. The social worker didn't believe me when I told her. She said the Johnsons were good people. They probably were. Good people just... Sometimes they get tired of kids who aren't really theirs." David couldn't hold back his sob. "Amara, look at me. Please, baby, look at me." Slowly, Amara raised her eyes to meet his. In them, he saw not just fear, but a terrible kind of wisdom, the kind that comes from learning too young that love is conditional and safety is temporary. "You are mine," David said fiercely. "Do you hear me? You are my daughter. Not adopted daughter, not foster daughter. My daughter, mine and Mommy's. Forever. Do you understand? Forever means forever." "That's what the Martins said," Amara whispered. "They even started adoption papers. But then Mrs. Martin got pregnant, and suddenly there wasn't room for me anymore. They said they were sorry. Everyone's always sorry." David pulled out his phone with shaking hands. "What are you doing?" Amara asked, panic creeping back into her voice. "I'm calling Mommy. And then I'm calling Dr. Patterson." Dr. Patterson was their family therapist, whom they'd seen a few times during the adoption process. "We're going to fix this, baby. All of us together. Am I in trouble?" "No," David said so forcefully that Amara jumped. He gentled his voice. "No, sweetheart. You're not in trouble. Daddy's in trouble for not seeing how scared you've been, for not understanding. But we're going to make it better." Catherine answered on the second ring. "Hey, honey, is everything—" "Come home," David said. "Right now, please." "David? What's wrong? Is Amara okay?" David looked at his daughter, still huddled on the pantry floor, and made a decision. "I found Amara eating dog food. She's been doing it since she came to live with us. She's been preparing for us to abandon her." The silence on the other end was deafening. Then Catherine's voice, fierce and broken. "I'm leaving right now. Tell her. Tell her Mommy's coming. Tell her we're never letting her go." As David ended the call, Amara spoke again. At the group home, there was this older girl, Tasha. She aged out, turned 18. She came back to visit once and told us stuff, how to survive. She said dog food was safe if it was the good kind. She said always know where you can find food, water, and warmth. She said never trust anybody completely, because love is just a word people use until they don't mean it anymore. "Tasha was wrong," David said firmly. "She was trying to protect you, but she was wrong about love. Real love, the kind Mommy and I have for you, doesn't stop. It doesn't have conditions. It doesn't have returns." "But how do you know?" Amara asked, and the desperation in her voice was heartbreaking. "How do you know you won't wake up one day and realize I'm too much trouble, too expensive, too different? Mrs. Johnson said I didn't fit with their family aesthetic. I didn't even know what that meant. I looked it up later. It means I didn't match. I didn't look like them in the Christmas photos. David felt rage build in his chest. Not at Amara, never at Amara, but at every adult who had failed this precious child. "Baby girl, can I tell you a secret?" Amara nodded slowly. "Before you came to us, Mommy and I were breaking. We wanted a baby so badly, and it wasn't happening. We spent so much money on treatments, went to so many doctors. We fought all the time. We almost got divorced. Did you know that?" Amara shook her head, eyes wide. "Then our counselor suggested adoption, and we went to that foster care facility, and I saw you. Do you remember? You were reading a book in the corner, all by yourself. You looked up at me with those beautiful brown eyes, and you smiled, just a tiny smile, and I knew. I knew you were my daughter, not someone else's daughter that I would take care of. Mine. But what if—" "No what-ifs," David interrupted gently. "I need you to understand something. You saved us, Amara. You didn't come to fill a hole in our lives. You came and showed us what our lives were supposed to be. Every single day with you is a gift I don't deserve, but I'm grateful for. Even the hard days, even the days when you're angry or scared or testing us. Those days, too." The front door burst open, and Catherine's heels clicked rapidly across the floor. She appeared in the doorway, taking in the scene, her husband on his knees, their daughter surrounded by dog food, both of them crying. "Oh, my baby," Catherine breathed, and unlike David's careful approach, she swooped in, pulling Amara into her arms despite the girl's attempt to pull away. "My sweet, brave, scared baby girl." "I'm sorry, Mommy," Amara sobbed, finally breaking down completely. "I'm sorry I'm so messed up. I'm sorry I can't just be normal." "Don't you dare apologize," Catherine said fiercely, rocking Amara back and forth. "Don't you dare. You are exactly who you're supposed to be. And we are so lucky, so impossibly lucky, that we get to be your parents." David wrapped his arms around both of them, and they sat there on the pantry floor, surrounded by scattered dog food, holding each other as Amara sobbed out 3 years of fear and a lifetime of rejection. Later, after they had cleaned up and were sitting in the living room, Amara curled between them on the couch, Max, the golden retriever, at their feet. David asked gently, "Have you been hungry here? Even once? Please, tell us the truth." Amara shook her head. "No, there's always food. Too much food. Mrs. Chen always asks what I want for snacks, but you couldn't trust it," Catherine finished. "Oh, sweetheart, I understand. When something has been taken away before, it's hard to believe it won't be taken away again." "The dog food was like insurance," Amara explained. "Like how you have insurance for the house, Daddy, just in case something bad happens. I wasn't really hungry. I just needed to know I could do it, that I could survive if I had to." "You don't have to survive anymore," David said. "You get to live. You get to be a kid. You get to make mistakes and have bad days and know that you'll still wake up in your bed tomorrow, in this house, with parents who love you." "Forever?" Amara asked in a small voice. "Forever, and then some," Catherine promised. "And we're going to prove it to you. Not with words, because you've heard words before, but with time. With days and weeks and months and years of us being here. Of you being here. Until one day you wake up and realize you haven't thought about dog food or backup plans in so long you can't remember when you stopped." Dr. Patterson came that evening, and they talked for a long time. She explained to David and Catherine about food insecurity trauma, about how children who have experienced hunger develop survival mechanisms that persist long after the danger has passed. She scheduled sessions for the whole family and gave them exercises to do together. Rituals of permanence, she called them. Over the next weeks and months, they developed new traditions. Every Sunday, they would go grocery shopping together, and Amara could pick anything she wanted for her personal snack drawer. No questions asked, no limits. They created a forever box where they put photos and mementos of their life together, physical evidence of their permanence. David had his lawyer draw up paperwork that gave Amara legal claim to a trust fund that was hers no matter what. Not at 18 or 21, but now, so she would know she was never one decision away from poverty. But the most important change was in the small moments. When Amara tested them, and she did, pushing boundaries to see if this would be the thing that made them give up, they stayed calm and present. When she hoarded food in her room, they didn't scold. When she asked for the 15th time if they were sure they wanted her, they answered with the same patience as the first time. Slowly, painfully, beautifully, Amara began to believe. The first time she left food on her plate without wrapping it in a napkin for later, Catherine cried. The day she came home from school and went straight to the kitchen for a snack without checking her backpack stash first, David had to excuse himself to compose himself in his office. A year later, as they prepared for Amara's birthday party, her first real party with school friends and decorations and a 3-tiered cake, David found her in the pantry. His heart stopped for a moment before he realized she was organizing cans for the food drive her class was doing. "Daddy," she said, not looking up, "do you think we could buy some extra? Ms. Rodriguez says some kids don't have enough food at home. I want to help." David knelt beside her, his throat tight. "Of course we can, baby. We can buy as much as you want to donate." Amara finally looked at him, and in her eyes, he saw something that hadn't been there before. Peace. "I know what it's like," she said simply, "to be hungry, to be scared. I don't want any kid to feel that way." "You're going to help so many people," David said. "You already do, just by being you." "Daddy?" Amara asked, sorting through cans of soup. "I don't think about the dog food anymore. I forgot about it until just now. Is that okay?" David pulled her into a hug, not caring that tears were streaming down his face. "That's more than okay, baby girl. That's wonderful." "I love you, Daddy," Amara said against his chest. "Real love, not scared love, not maybe love. Real love." "Real love," David agreed. "Forever love." And in that pantry, where fear had once lived, there was only love now. The kind that transforms, the kind that heals, the kind that lasts, the kind that turns a house into a home and 3 broken people into a family. The dog food had long since been donated to the animal shelter, but the lesson remained. Sometimes, the greatest act of love is seeing past the survival mechanisms to the scared child underneath, and loving them through the fear until they can love without it. Sometimes redemption looks like a little girl organizing cans for hungry kids, finally believing she'll never be one of them again. Sometimes justice is simply a child learning that home is not a temporary privilege, but a permanent promise. And sometimes, the most profound transformations happen not in grand gestures, but in small moments of understanding. A father on his knees in a pantry, a mother's fierce embrace, a family choosing each other over and over again until choice becomes certainty and fear becomes faith.